In the depths of a dense jungle, far from the bustling roads of the village, there stood a humble hut made of weathered wood and thatched with straw. The hut was owned by Hari, a man who had lived alone for many years. His home was small and broken, nestled quietly between towering trees and thick underbrush. The roof leaked when it rained, and the walls creaked with the weight of age. Yet, despite its imperfections, the hut was his sanctuary, and Hari found peace in its solitude. One bright morning, as he tended to his small garden of vegetables by the edge of the jungle, a merchant passed through the path that cut through the thick trees. His cart was laden with precious goods, silks, exotic spices, fine metals, and trinkets from distant lands. The merchant, with his expensive clothes and air of authority, had no intention of stopping in this desolate part of the jungle, but as his cart jolted over a rough stretch of road, one of the wheels gave way with a loud snap. The cart tipped, and a large chest full of his precious wares fell to the ground, spilling its contents onto the forest floor. The merchant cursed loudly and hurried to collect his items, but in the chaos of the moment, he failed to notice that a valuable ring had rolled away into the underbrush. Frustrated, he decided to leave the chest and goods behind, intending to fix his cart and continue on his journey. Hari from his nearby garden had heard the commotion and seen the chest fall. He rushed over, gathering the precious goods with care and placing them in the chest to protect them from the elements. The jungle was not a place where one could easily find such treasures, and Hari knew that the chest must belong to someone. He carefully carried it back to his hut, stashing it in the corner, and waited for its rightful owner to return. Days passed. The merchant, unaware of the loss, continued his travels deeper into the jungle. He spent many days hunting, trekking through thick foliage, and enduring the hardships of the wild. He had become so focused on his journey that he had nearly forgotten about the chest. It wasn't until he had traveled for several days more, when he was tired and disoriented, that he realized he was lost. As the rain clouds gathered in the sky one evening, the merchant found himself caught in a sudden downpour. The wind howled through the trees, and the rain poured relentlessly. Searching for shelter, he stumbled upon Hari's hut. Seeing the humble structure amidst the trees, the merchant approached and knocked on the door. Hari opened it to find the drenched and weary traveler standing before him. Without a word, Hari stepped aside, offering the merchant a place by the fire to dry off and rest. As the storm raged outside, the merchant looked around the small hut. The roof leaked in several places, water dripping onto the dirt floor. He could see that the walls were cracked and the thatch was worn, yet there was a sense of tranquility in the air. The fire crackled, casting a soft glow on the walls, and Hari, with quiet grace, handed the merchant a bowl of soup. While they ate, the merchant's eyes wandered to the corner of the room, where the chest from earlier was carefully placed. His eyes widened when he saw it. "That's my chest!" he exclaimed, standing up quickly. "How did you come by it?" Hari looked up calmly. "It fell from your cart a few days ago, just outside the jungle. I took it in to keep it safe for you." The merchant's mind raced. He had left the chest behind, thinking it was lost forever, but here it was, still intact, with all its goods carefully preserved. The sight of it made him pause and reflect. He had expected that someone would have taken it, but instead it had been protected by this poor solitary man. The merchant frowned, a conflicted expression on his face. "You must be in need of money, living out here in the jungle with such a broken hut. Why not sell these goods? You could fix this place, buy new clothes, and live a better life." Hari smiled softly, his eyes kind but firm. "I don't need riches. I have everything I need right here, my home, my peace, and my honesty. This chest, these goods, they are not mine to take. They belong to you." The merchant stood silent for a moment. staring at Hari with both respect and disbelief. "But surely you could sell them. You could use the money to fix this hut to make your life easier." Hari shook his head, his voice calm. "A life lived with integrity is richer than any treasure. These things are yours. I will not sell what is not mine to keep." The merchant, his chest tight with emotion, finally understood. Here, in this broken hut in the middle of the jungle, he had found something far more valuable than the riches he carried. He had found a man who was not swayed by greed, who held on to honesty as his greatest treasure. That night, the merchant slept in the hut, the sound of the rain and the wind outside making the old structure creak and groan. But inside there was a quiet peace, a calm that he had not known in years. In the morning, he took the chest and its contents, but left behind something more important, something that could not be measured in gold or silver. He left a deep respect for Hari and a promise to himself to live with more integrity. As the merchant walked back into the jungle, Hari returned to his simple life in the hut. Though the roof still leaked and the walls still creaked, he knew that his heart was full. He had nothing to prove, nothing to sell,